It's time for Fish Trivia, the contest of the content creators. Brought to you by Hogan Slogans. Featuring the Helping Friendly Podcast versus wook+. And now, your host, Weekend Wook.
Hey guys, welcome to Fish Trivia, contest of content creators. That is not a great name for this. It took a while.
It's a fantastic name. That fits right in with us.
So we have a very exciting game show here. There's been a lot of discussion on the interwebs about the superior place to get your fish content. And there are the camps that go with HFPod and the camps that go with wook+. So we're here to see how it all goes and how we go head to head. I guess they'll go over the process real quick. We'll go head to head, one representative from wook+ versus one representative from HFPod. And HFPod will get the first question. If they get it right, they get the point. If they get it wrong, the wook+ representative has a chance to steal. If they get it wrong, chat gets a chance to steal. So chat, make sure you're answering all of these questions as soon as they go out, because Llama will pick someone who gets the right answer out of the chat. And if both of us get it wrong, you will win some merch. Also, there will be chat only questions throughout. So when we get to the chat only questions, answer those and you can win either some Osiris merch or some wook+ merch. So I guess you guys want to get started? Get right into it?
Can I, Tim, just real quick, can I have some wook+ merch?
Absolutely. I can't believe you don't already. How?
I know.
We got to talk to the intern. John!
Yeah. I want some wook+ merch too.
Sign me
All
up.
of the contestants on today's broadcast will be receiving wook+ merch.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll do a merch swap.
Merch swap. Merch.
Let us know what you want.
Llama, let's start with the first two contestants.
Who will remain?
Seamless. There we go.
Since
All right.
since Hogan Slogans is sponsoring this, we should send them Hogan Slogan shirts.
We can, totally.
I would wear that proudly.
All right, Jonathan, the first question goes to you. Are you ready?
Which Fish album has the most tracks? A Picture of Nectar, Story of the Ghost, Rift, or Farmhouse?
I don't know. I'm going to go with Picture, but yeah, I don't know.
Picture of Nectar.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's got all those
Excellent.
short ones. Got all those short ones on it.
Yes, Llama, give a point to HFPod. I'm not going to say that after each question, but I just want to make sure you know you are actually the one doing this. All right, let's see.
Do I get to
already
steal
in a
his
hole.
if he gets it wrong?
If
Yes.
he gets it wrong, you will have that
All right.
opportunity.
And we're already in a hole.
I know. We're like eggs, man. Just sitting in this hole. All right, question 2 goes to you, Kev.
What year did Fish first appear on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine?
I thought it was multiple choice.
It is. The answers are 1999, 2000, 2003, or 2004.
2003.
2003.
All right, we're all tied up. Good job, guys. All
Nice
right, job. While we switch up the set,
I
let's go to
panicked.
our first chat question. Chat, this question is for you guys.
Hey everybody, this is Benji Eisen reporting live, actually pre-recorded, from St. Louis on Dead and Company tour. We are about to do load-in at the Riverport Amphitheater, and that brings me to my fish question for all of you. So of the following 4 songs, which one has Gone Type 2? All Things Reconsidered? Waste? Otipa Ceremony? Or Buried Alive?
All right. So while they contemplate that, I think we'll go to the first question. This one goes to Megan.
Okay.
Are you ready for your question?
I think so.
All right, let's go.
Which of these songs has Fish not covered? LA Woman, The Doors, Champagne Supernova, Oasis, Rock and Roll All Night, Kiss, Kashmir, Led Zeppelin.
I'm going to say rock and roll all night.
Oh, we are sorry. That is not the right answer.
Damn.
Travis, you have an opportunity to steal. Do you know the answer? Oh, you're muted, sir. It's not like we've been doing this for 3 years. It's okay.
I'm thinking to myself, I can't even remember the question, the one, so I'll go with the one I remember hearing. I think it was the Oasis song, Champagne Supernova. Was that the one that they said?
They did do that, and that is
They
not
did.
the right answer. We are looking for boom.
Kashmir.
Yeah.
Kashmir, Led Zeppelin.
That's
go,
a great
chat.
question because you would have thought, of course, they've covered Kashmir.
Of course.
Oh,
tricky.
well, chat got the first merch. Andrew Holler will reach out or figure this out next week on wook+live. If you don't hear from us, tune in and we'll figure out how to get to you. All right, let's go to wait, did we do both questions or was that the first one?
No, that was
the first one. So the next one goes to Travis. Similar vein.
What is the most played cover song? Yamar, Hold Your Head Up, 2001, Good Times, Bad Times.
Overall, over all decades, I'm gonna go with. Oh man, now I don't even remember the answers. My short-term memory is shot. Bad time. I'm gonna go
need
with
an answer.
I'll go with Hold Your Head Up.
Oh shit, I don't remember which one it was, but
Hold Your Head Up.
And that's tricky because it shows up on your set list twice typically, and I believe the way .NET counts it is 2 times every time they play it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because
But even with that,
song.
even without considering that, if you considered each pair, it is still tied for the most played covers. It's twice as much as the second most at the moment, but
Wow.
it's just
Yeah, because they used to play it like every show back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, when
Every
Fish
show.
would come out and do the vacuum or like
Yeah.
do something, they'd always intro and outro with it. So it's kind of like his little theme song, so to
Yeah.
speak. So yeah.
Hey,
But then I
Lana,
couldn't
did-
remember if it was just in 1.0 because they haven't done it in so long, but they play 2001 all the time now. So I was thinking maybe that was a good question. That's fun.
That was a good
There you
question.
go.
Thanks. Llama, do we have enough answers for the first chat question? Should I go and give that answer? Give me a thumbs up, no? All right, let's go to the next chat question. We'll do that at the end then. Here's the second chat question, then you can bring up the next team.
Hi, I'm Missy.
And I'm Jovi,
Jovi.
the girl who sang with Trey last night.
Oh, she was so cute.
Bug!
Go Trey, go Jovi. Here's your next trivia question.
What Fish song was featured in MTV's Beavis and Butthead? Was it
A, 2001, B, Contact, C, Down with Disease, or D, Reba?
Good luck.
Good luck.
Awesome. So we'll come back to that answer. No, Brian's going against Fam. Get out of here, Kevin.
Bye.
Professional production we have here.
Hello.
All right. So, Brian, this first one comes to you.
Brutal.
What is the most played song in 2.0? David Bowie, 7 Below, Down with Disease, or Tweezer?
I'm gonna go Down with Disease.
Down with Disease.
Yeah, nicely done.
There it is.
Nailed it.
That was a tricky question. I had a little bit of a hard time with that one. Oh, I guess I should go ahead and plug and thank fishtrivia.com for helping with some of the questions and the production on this. We love those guys. So, all right, fam. Last question goes to you.
Heyo.
Are you ready?
No.
I'm gonna play it
I've known everyone else's questions mostly, and so this I will absolutely completely be blown away by.
Yeah, shit the
and
bed,
choke
right?
on.
What year did Page first play with the band? 1983, 1984, 1985, or 1986?
I'm gonna go ahead and call foul on a couple things. I number one thought this was going to be a physical competition, and so I've been training back here. I've been working. I thought we were gonna like throw tanks over Subaru Outbacks or something like that, like a strongman type competition. That's number one. Number two, this is not a 2.0 question, so I prepared in every way for 2.0, which is this is as far from 2.0 as could be. But
it's not fair at all.
So obviously he didn't start with the band, and Holdsworth leaves the band. He steps in, and I can't remember. Like I'm bad at that old stuff of like if there was crossover. I mean, to me, it's 85 or 86. I'm the worst at this. Oh,
You should
man.
give lifelines or whatever. What was it in?
I'll say 80. I'll say 86 just to get it over with, but I know now it's 85. I hate myself. Phone a friend. I hate these games.
I am sorry, fam. That is not 86. Brian with the chance to steal.
5385.
You knew the date, motherfucker. Jesus Christ.
1985.
That was tough. All right.
I spent a lot of hours in the 1980s, so I feel like I should know this.
Let me recap on what your show was about. HFPod, just recently. What was that about?
We did an HFPod episode on Nectars in '88, but Undermine season 1 was on the 1980s, and we spent a lot of time there.
Thank you for that question. I feel like this is a setup by my home team. That's okay. Fair. Next question.
No, that was it. That was your two questions. So actually,
that was it? Oh, okay.
This is just the cold open. We have a whole end of the show for a
man.
conversation.
All right, I'm outta
Actually,
here.
I asked
Send me
Brian. All right. I asked Brian in the green room because we actually have another guest here. Whoop, there he is.
Oh, I got him.
Llama. All right. So I had to prepare the other questions and organize it. So I didn't think I was going to participate, but I really wanted to because it seemed like a lot of fun. So I asked Brian to prepare two questions for RJ and I. So I guess the first one will go to RJ.
RJ, how are you?
Brian, great.
I'm so nervous.
Great.
This sucks.
I know.
Why did I volunteer for this?
What night did Phil Lesh sit in with Fish? 8/9/98, 9/17/99, 10/6/2000, or 4/15/99?
Um, 9/17/99.
You are correct.
I have no business being in this game show with you guys. I'm kind of relieved you got it right because if I had to try to steal it, it would have been embarrassing.
All right, I got a fun one for you.
All right.
You ready? What show featured a debut because of a border patrol stopping? 12/12/92 in Toronto, 7/6/94 in Montreal, 11/23/96 in Vancouver, or 9/9/99 in Vancouver.
I'm going to go with Vancouver 9999.
Get the correct city.
Wrong Vancouver.
23/96. They debuted, I believe it's called, I'm pulling it up right now, Midnight on the Highway. The only time they've ever played it, which was written during a border patrol or covered during a border patrol stopping.
Wow. Awesome. All right. Well, I think HFPod has taken this, but we have one more question. Let's bring everybody on, Llama. I feel like we got to get the whole party in here.
Bring everyone on.
Get them all in here.
Yeah, I feel like I need a shot at redemption.
I was gonna say I feel like I need
Or maybe just a shot.
It's a shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Fam, don't you have something on your wall that could have answered that question?
No, I don't know.
that thing I sent you like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I'm sure it's over here.
God, Jesus, man. Try to look professional.
I'm like, bam, look at the wall. Look at the wall.
So the third and final question for chat is, as it were first debuted in The Price is Right, a final showcase. So before we ask the chat what their question is, we're going to show them what is in their showcase.
Your showcase tonight includes pre-fish show shows, including The Lot on wookplus every Wednesday and HFPod over on Osiris Friday through Sunday, 30 minutes before each fish show. And for your post-show needs, wookplus will be live shortly after the encore every night of tour, along with HFPod the following day at 1 p.m. Eastern. And to finish out tour, find HFPod and wookplus on the Dick slot. And of course, tune into Jump Radio every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, the day after each fish show, for a free replay of the entire show. And catch me, Andy Michaels, live on Jump Radio Saturdays from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern.
Now that is a solid bundle, a solid showcase.
Amazing. Thanks,
All
Andy.
right.
That was a great promo.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
that's
voice is
cool.
Yeah, nice stuff.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna recruit him or not, because this was all super last minute in true Wook fashion. I attempted to do the voiceover for a take, and it was atrocious. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'm being like that, whatever that psychology thing is, where you're like harder on yourself. So let me just run it by the guys and see if it's. And they were like, dude, we can't use this. This is really bad. So I was like, Andy, I need a big one. I need a big favor. Could you please? And he was a trooper and stepped up for us. And man, that came out so much better.
That speaks to how close we all are, where we can be honest with each other and be like, Tim, no, that was Tim.
You can do a lot, but this is not one of those things.
He was trying to have sexy game show host voice.
No, let's not talk about it. It's okay. It's
Do you
super
still have the
uncomfortable.
recording? Can we play the recording to hear the alternative?
Maybe next week, I think. If you tune in to wook+live next week, we might have a sample of that.
It should be in the outtakes tonight.
I love it.
So the question for the chat is, which show in the summer tour will have the best jam? And go ahead and put it in here. We're going to have to wait and watch this bundle we just played all through tour to find out who's the winner. So go ahead and answer that. Llama, I'm going to go and play the answer. So we're cutting off the first two chat questions. And then we can go ahead and get to the main live show for the night. Sound good?
Sounds like
And the answer to that question that was asked, that 4-part question, 1-part question with 4 potential answers, the answer to that question that, oh man, am I ever so tempted right now to do an Iculus style narration, but I won't. The answer to the question, which you would have known if you had only read the fucking book. Maybe you read the book, maybe you forgot. Maybe you got the cliff notes of the book, or maybe you only heard the Great Woods version of the book. But the answer to this particular question is Buried Alive. And the one in particular, the Buried Alive that went Type 2, did so 24 years ago to the week, which is better than 24 years ago to the strong, right here in St. Louis at the Riverport Amphitheater, which is why I asked the question to begin with.
C.
Down with disease. Have fun, guys. Boom, 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 boom.
All right, so that does it for the game show portion of the show, but stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Following your local news, we will have wook+live. I'll see you guys.
live.
Man, I am relieved to not have any more videos to remember to play. Now the coordination is done and we could just have a fun conversation. Well, thank you guys. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys all agreed to.
What was the score?
Yeah, Llama, how did
Do you wanna
everybody
know?
do? I don't think so. I don't.
We didn't play for score. We played for fun.
That was fun.
Oh,
I had a lot of fun.
That was really fun.
It was awesome.
It was fun.
I was playing for bragging, right?
It was 4-2. HFPod won. The chat stole one question.
Excellent.
Way to go, guys.
The winners are Andrew Holler on the steel, Ben's on question 1, and Andy Michaels on question 2.
Nice.
Andy.
All right, so we'll get you
Andy.
some
Right
Osiris merch and some wook+ merch, and I'm gonna try to let Llama figure out how to get in touch with you or send you it, and then if you can, we'll figure it out later. But congrats, guys.
Nice job.
So anyway, I'm really excited to talk to you guys. This is like one of those rare opportunities where you can have 8 people on a show like this, and everybody has a decent setup and kind of knows what they're talking about. I don't know why we haven't done this sooner. This is a lot of fun. We have a lot of cool things coming up, right? This summer thing, this summer tour collaboration. I think maybe before we get into talking about Fish, which is what we're going to do most of it, I guess Brian or RJ or someone, do you want to recap what you guys have coming up this summer for tour?
Absolutely. I can do that.
Go for
Sounds
it, dude.
great.
I got it. So we, as we have been for the better part of, I guess, all of 4.0, we'll be doing day after recaps, which has been a ton of fun. We do those at 1 p.m. Try to let people sleep in the day after the show because we like to have someone who is at the show, but we don't want everyone to be back on lot and on site ready for the show. So we do a recap midday.
It's a really good
we started
time
doing-
slot, by the way. I it's very easy to catch those when you're actually on tour and doing the shows, right? Because I'm not waking up before noon for nobody. Not
No.
during tour, not when you're out there. And so like 1 is like you're perfect, but you haven't gotten going. It's a perfect time for it.
We
Sorry, I
struggle
didn't
with
mean
the
to
West Coast crowd. No, you're good. We struggle with the West Coast crowd who, when I tell them it's 10 a.m. Pacific time, they're like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, the West Coast
but-
are your after visits. They're not going to be your live viewers, but they're
They're
the ones that
coming
come
later.
back.
Yeah. But we tried
We-
out this.
We find the opposite, that we get a lot of West Coast people because it's still early there when it's an East Coast show.
you get the night owls right after the show ends. We started this spring tour doing a show about 30 minutes before the webcast begins, just kind of like a loose hang, and then occasionally doing a set break hang. We were only going to do one weekend, and then they broke their no repeat streak, and Jonathan and I were like, this is an emergency podcast at this point in time. So we'll be on like 2 or 3 times a day throughout summer tour. We're doing kind of this in between right now. Our regularly scheduled program is Mondays and Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Half of those with Jonathan, half of those not, sadly. But we do like a bunch of Fish history on this. We pick a couple dates, we dive deep into wherever the band was at that point in time.
That's a little more traditional HF pod, right? That's kind of going back to the early days when RJ started it and how the show originally started, and not doing the live updates, right?
Yeah, the
Which
show
is cool that
originally
you're still
began as
keeping that going. Like that's a really, neat. Or I'm glad that you're staying true to it, because when you guys went to Undermine and kind of took, because I had been somebody that listened to Beyond the Pond and HF pod, and I was cool with the Undermine thing. I was excited about that, but I was worried that these things were going to lose a little bit, right, of what they were. But I don't think it did that. I feel like it was very additive. So I appreciate that as just somebody who listens from the outside.
Well, thank you. RG, do you want to speak at all about bringing back HF Pod?
Just that I'm glad that Tim's happy, and I think
thank you, RJ.
We did it by popular demand. We had to. Yeah, it's fun, and Megan is part of the team now, and like Matt is sort of a emeritus member, as is Brad, who just if we try to get them to show up, which we will eventually, they'll show up, but they were just released from. They did their tour and then they retired, and now Megan's on board, and it's amazing.
Well, and that's a great added. Sorry, Megan.
I was just going to say when I met Matt at MSG, he was like, "Thank God you're doing HFPod, so I don't have to."
The love
Doesn't
is
know what he's
real.
missing. He doesn't know what he's missing.
No. Megan's been a great addition to the team. It's a lot of fun to have her on board. So
it's
we've
great.
been having a great time with it.
The other, I just want to say, Brian, can I talk about our events real quick?
Yeah. Please do that.
Because there's some that we can tell you. Well, we'll just tell you whatever. So
only like 20 people watching, so it's not gonna get out there.
On July 18th, so the night before the man shows, we're gonna do a live show here near my house in Ardmore, where we're gonna have 3 musicians: Tom Hamilton, Chris Forsyth, and Daniel Donato. And they're playing with a house band that Chris has brought together. And I'm going to interview each of them, and they're each going to play like 20, 30 minutes with the house band. And at the end, there's going to be a big jam with all these musicians. So
awesome.
We're kind of like, it's not Fish related at all, but it's, people are going to be in town the night before the man shows. So we decided we would put this together. And Jonathan might not go to the man shows, but I think he's coming to the show anyway.
Yeah, I might come up just for that. It's a hot house band too. I've talked to a couple of people who are playing this show on my other podcast, and I'm very excited about this show. That looks like a lot of fun.
I also am coming up, and I can't go to the man shows, but I'm coming up for the Ardmore show.
I probably will be at the Ardmore show and the man shows.
Sweet.
That's great. And then Bethel's. So just come with me. We'll just go on along.
Well, let's hang out. We should all hang out.
I didn't realize you lived near Ardmore. I used to live in Bluebell, which is like pretty close.
Yeah.
I moved a little bit further out west, but we're not that far from you guys. Ardmore's still my kind of like close venue, so
I didn't know
semi-close.
Yeah,
it's wild.
We'll hang out. And they
come to Wook Studios.
I would like to. Brian has been working on events like the one I was describing, and one in Milwaukee the night before the Alpine shows, and one in Denver the night before the Dick's shows. Similar, different musicians. I don't think we can say the musicians yet, but can we, Brian?
Kind of want to, but I don't think we can. I'll just say that you guys really dig it.
It's going to be awesome. So there's one in Milwaukee, one in Denver. Yeah. So that's another thing we're doing this summer. Not Fish Tour related, but like kind of around Fish Tour. So we're excited about all this stuff. It's really fun.
No, that's great. And I guess since we're going to round off the plug hour before we get into the conversations, I'll go ahead and
plug away
the other half. And this is what's great, right?
Tim, what do you guys have going on for summer tour?
Thank you, RJ. That's so kind of you to ask. And people actually like the fake contention, or people wondering, since we do similar things, is there enough room for it? And I was like, have you ever talked to a Fish fan? Of course there's enough room for it, right? Like we can all nerd out. And we never actually sat down and had this conversation. I feel like we just have different styles that lend themselves naturally to different timings. So while you guys are doing the responsible thing where you can process the show, get a good night's sleep, and then be well presented in your studios at 1:00, we were like, fuck it. 15, 20 minutes after encore, we're going live right with that energy, right? But it's a different feel. We're not doing hyper analytics. It's that gutter, that instant reaction you have coming out of a show.
Like you're sitting in the bar after the show having a beer talking about it.
Or
which is such a needed vibe. Like I gotta say, it's like the 1 p.m. the day after that suits me the way my brain works. But what you guys do, there's a true vibe of getting out of a Fish show, kind of buzzing. And being like, I don't know what the hell I just saw, but that was fucking amazing. And then like getting into it from there, and like the energy of that, and like meeting up with friends and having fun that's like adjacent to Fish, but then it comes back to the Fish show and it's like 3:00 in the morning suddenly, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, we saw a show tonight, but like this whole other thing happened after that. That is totally needed. I love it.
Yeah, it's a hotel room post show.
It definitely is one of those things for the West Coast. Like the East Coast shows get over at 8:00, 8:30, 9:00 here, and I'm always like, I need someone to talk to. I need something to do. So it's nice to like have that sort of vibe and that energy just to kind of let it go and talk about the show real quick. So yeah,
can I plug our guest?
Oh well, I'm about to get to that, but oh no, wait, you're talking about for the after shows, So go ahead.
For the after show, we have Lenny Duncan coming back, and Abby, and Fish DJ Amanda. That's Amanda.
And Benji did say he will be back for this tour, so Benji will be on a couple of them.
And our friends Pixel Wooks.
Yeah, they're cool. They're doing some cool stuff. We are gonna have fan sets on next week on Live. to talk more NFT shit that I don't understand, but I feel like some people are into it. So we're equal opportunity wooks. If you're into it, we have a place for you. And then the only other thing to plug is we are bringing back The Lot, which is kind of the flagship show for the channel. It's our very first show. That'll be Wednesday nights. And again, the yin and the yang, the balance to what HFPod's doing. You guys are doing the pre-shows on the weekends. We have the Wednesday night, wook a lot. So
can I push the other two guests we have? We have 3 more episodes left of this show.
All right, and then no more plugs from anybody.
All right, that's it.
Moratorium on plugs.
We went first from week in
20
July
to a dozen.
Right, first week in July we have Lady Couch, who are a band out of Nashville, and then to close the season out, we have Matt Bush, who is Bob Weir's manager, coming on.
And we also, not as good as Matt Bush, but next week we are going to have fan sets and the guy that's, I don't know if you saw him on tour, but he has a wheel of Destiny, he calls it. He's going to be hanging out with us on Lot throughout tour. Wheel of Destiny Unbound, actually. I am sorry, I butchered that, but he will be coming on, and I don't know, just a wook that wants to talk fish. And that's what we should do.
Fun.
That's what we should do. All right, fam. So I want to ask you where you want to take this, since I feel kind of bad about giving you an 85 question when you clearly were prepared for 2.0.
Dude, it's all good, man. Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Does he want to steer it into 2.0?
Panel?
Because I'm there for that.
Yeah, you guys had a great conversation the other day.
Jonathan and I are out.
Yeah, no, 2.0 sounds good, man. We can talk all 2.0 now. I wasn't prepared for questions. You put me on the spot again there. So
No, just topic.
Okay.
Just anything related to fish, and we'll see if we can freestyle.
I don't listen to fish. I've been listening
All right, Spin
mostly
Doctors.
to Taper's Choice or Spin Doctors is all I listen to for llama. And so
Taper's Choice is great. Shout out to those guys.
Definitely.
guys-
I finally saw them last week in a Choice Fest. It was fantastic. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, it wasn't a festival though. Like
It
just
wasn't
wanted
one
something
day.
different in my mind.
It was a lot bigger than I was expecting it to be, and it was a lot of fun. Like there was a small little venue that they played, and after listening to as many shows as we can and they have out, it was really nice to finally actually see them play and see them live. And we actually shot a bunch of video of it. We actually shot the entire show with about 5 different cameras. So we're going to edit all that together with them and put some stuff together for it. It was really cool. So because they don't have any video out yet.
Their YouTube has 1 2-minute video, fan shot phone video. That's it on YouTube. Of them.
That's
So I met a
crazy.
guy there too, Wharf Rat Joe, who recorded the show and also filmed it. So he's giving me the master audio, and so we're gonna put it all together and create something really cool out of it. But I can't recommend them enough. They're really cool guys. On top of being fantastic musicians, they're even better people. They're super friendly. They were hanging out with the crowd, vibing with everybody, like really nice and just great guys. But man, they rip. I mean, they're up and coming, and it's really fun, and it's exciting to see and kind of see the growth, kind of see this from the ground level and see what they're doing. It's really cool. So I can't, I know hopefully they'll be playing some more shows and in other places, and I can't recommend if you guys get a chance to see them. They're great. So.
And they're out right by you, so you're gonna have a lot of shows. I feel like
I know. I feel like I for once I get the West Coast bias, which is kind of nice. So
Yeah, right?
Fucking fans in the West Coast. They don't give us East Coasters any love.
Right? Right? I mean, we did get a nice fall tour last year with Fish, which was fantastic. I can't really complain too much right now about not having my cup full for that. That was really a pleasurable
Yeah, you
tour.
saw that tour. That tour was fantastic.
Yeah, I managed to hit
one
pretty
of
much every
those
show.
shows. It was hard.
Yeah, it was a great. I was lucky enough to get pretty much all but Oregon in, so it was nice. It was good, and managed to not get COVID the whole time too, which was an even bigger plus. And then
All you had to do was go to MSG.
yeah, and then I had to go to New
Once
York and
later.
got it promptly right from there. So
I finally saw
like
the show
50%
in
of
April
us
and
here.
got COVID. So yeah, it was worth it.
It was worth it.
That was a
Exactly.
very odd, not to stay, what they tell you about content creation, stay on COVID as long as possible. It's going to do wonders for your
I
ratings.
know I was tempted not to say anything, but I had to just kind of throw it out there that I mean
No, but that day after MSG was a very odd sensation as far as being on social media and text messages, because you started getting the hey, I spent 4 hours with you and I tested positive. And then you start seeing on Twitter and stuff. It's like, hey, I was sitting right next to you talking to you for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll get off.
Same thing happened after Vegas. It was just started going around. I somehow dodged it there, but
yeah, me too. That's what I was gonna say. Somehow Vegas, with as bad as that venue was and as terrible as all that was, somehow I managed to get out of there without it, and then go to MSG where it felt like, I mean, granted it was New York and everyone was a little bit less.
They just reduced all the mandates right before that.
Right, exactly. But it really felt like such a better airflow in there, and you felt safer in MSG for whatever reason.
The place in Vegas was fucking 190 degrees in a horseshoe with no AC on because they couldn't have it on because of the fire. It was like,
but it was like that every night. It wasn't just that one night.
Yeah, it was like that all
every night.
I had to go back and dry my hair in the room. I mean, I was like dripping wet. After
it was bad. It was bad. But
shows were good though.
Shows were great. Hey, that's the important thing. Same with MSG. The shows were great. So
Oh yeah.
Can't
complain. The gag was great. I mean, the whole not being on New Year's thing really fucked with me for like 2 weeks. I was very lost.
How about this? Where do we rank that? Having a month or two to look back on it
against
as
other New
compared
Year's
to
other New Year's.
What he said.
Other April shows.
Other April shows.
No, the gag.
Best April show I've seen in a very long time.
No, the gag, the New Year's gag.
I think since the production kind of took a step up in the 3.0 era, I have that gag with the 2015 Hourglass and the 2013 Gem Truck set is probably my favorites. It felt immersive. It felt
totally.
It didn't feel like I saw the Petrichor one and like I really love. I thought like it was beautifully done. The performance of
But
the
it felt
song
like
was
Broadway
great.
or something like
Yeah.
you were watching.
It felt
on
like
a
something
stage.
different from a Fish show. Like
Yeah, you
this,
felt removed
the
from it.
Hourglass, the
Yeah.
Gem
Yeah.
Truck, all those felt like a part of a Fish show.
But
It
you
just
know,
felt
without the whales and the lasers, it was Petrichor, right? Like I know it wasn't the exact same technology, but a lot like the race stage and it didn't
Totally.
have the dance, but there was a lot of Petrichor influence in it. I think they learned and they evolved it, right? Like I feel like maybe it started kind of in that vein, and then they were like, we need to be more immersive. I think the lasers are the undercredited or undervalued portion of it, because everybody was talking about the
Yeah.
whales and the dolphins, but without the lasers creating the surface, right, that things were swimming above and below, it wouldn't have worked nearly as well.
And the
That was
bubbles,
a very cool
the bubbles
addition.
were highly underrated. Like I
The
didn't know
bubbles
bubbles
looked
could look so
amazing.
cool and lasers and stuff.
Underrated.
Like,
Thank you. Jesus, I can't even think of.
What a cheap little, not it wasn't cheap, but what a cheap way to do something spectacular. You're like, bubbles. Who would have thought that they look so incredibly cool with lasers hitting?
Was that
off
like
them?
right when Split Open and Melt started?
Yeah, it was at the end. Like it was.
Yeah, and it
towards
just
the
like was
end,
like floating up. It was perfect. No, the lights is a really good point. Like
Yeah.
like purple hue. Even watch like I got to imagine being in there was better than watching at home, like most shows. But like sitting at home watching it, you felt like you were looking into an aquarium, and it just had this magical.
It was
feel to it.
also such a like an upgrade on them getting into the aquarium on New Year's Eve. It was
Right,
kind of
right.
a nod
That's really
back
what
to
it was.
that.
It was like
Yeah, and that was like
30 years
it was
later.
Such a like a. I love when they make those like historical nods back to old gags, but like do it even better. Like I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of the fact that they did like one raised word in that surface? As they raised the stage up and one word pops up early, and then they did nothing else with that. Like what it seemed
That missed
like a lot of
opportunity,
effort
maybe?
for a thing. Yeah, it seems like
It's
it
the
was
only
weird.
word you needed. It
Yeah,
was
you're
the
just
only
free.
word you needed.
Jonathan,
Sure,
just
but
free.
like, why
Wait,
are
to
we
your
not
point,
doing
yes,
it
Sam
again?
could have-
Do you not like freedom, Jonathan? Is that what you're trying to say?
Absolutely not. No,
So,
freedom
Jonathan,
is the worst.
the
Look where it's
whale,
gotten us.
The dolphins, the
But
rain.
I guess they
the
did
stuff,
free.
It's a good
lasers.
pivot.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
Free
You
is a
want the
good
words
one.
too?
Free is because it's a song, and so they
Oh,
put
is that
it on
why?
there. And no, but they aren't going to put every song on. What
I
other
think that'd be
words would you
cheesy.
put?
I just think
I
it was.
think it
No,
was an
I don't
edit.
disagree with you. I think it's weird that they did even one.
Okay.
I think it was symbolic
know?
that
It was
Trey
their
was
mantra.
free to be elevated again after what happened in 2019.
Oh,
I was going to
that's
say
a
that
fun
too.
throwback.
That I really like that they kind of
So
leaned
deep.
into that a little bit.
Yeah, I loved it.
There's no way
They
they're
hated
gonna go
it,
up
and then I
again.
loved
And then
it.
they're like, you know what? We're going to go
And
up
then the
again.
whole
Not
band
very
goes
high,
up.
but we're going to go
Yeah.
up. And you're like, oh my god,
We're
what
in
are they
this
doing?
together, guys.
Right, but
We're-
that was a very more appropriate way to elevate the band.
Oh, yeah.
right? It's like on a
Those
slow
switching up.
hydraulic lift.
Much
with
It's either that or
safer,
give them edibles.
inflatable. Yeah. And I also like how long they waited for it to come all the way down before anybody walked off. And they're like, you know how many times they must have been told, do not move until it settles and it's done, and then walk off.
We'll turn on this light as a soundboard.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was edited though,
was,
Jonathan. Like they
great.
probably wanted to use it more and then edited it back, and like I don't know, it felt kind of like that was like a too much.
I think if we knew how they did it, we probably understand why they only did one word. It's probably too much to do every song or something like that.
Render out a bunch of words or to get us to actually play that or whatever on there.
Just seems
I thought it was
like
light.
a non sequitur.
Was it actually protruding out like 3-dimensional? I thought it was like an illusion from the lights they projected on it.
If it was that, we
I
definitely would have done it again.
Judging things like that at that point, I was just like right in the back.
I was just staring at the fucking whale. I wasn't even looking at the stage. I tracked the whale.
I was
the whole
picking
time.
my jaw up off the floor. I was like, this is whatever.
Yeah, and
I was dancing my ass off. I was like, this is fucking great.
How do you guys think the 3-venue run that we just saw for Spring Tour compared to the MSG run? Did they continue the same trajectory and energy? Was there a dip in the run, or was it better? Where do you kind of place them compared to each other? Because I thought I'll give a little bit of my thought.
It's hard to compare.
Well, I had thought that all of 4.0 up to New York, and I'm calling it 4.0, but the whole summer, fall was at a very high level and continuing to get better all the way into Vegas. So New York, as good as it was kind of an island. And so I feel like that second run, right, the spring, is what tells you the direction, because you had the reset point with New York, and then it's like, where is it going from there? So if you think, if it's a dip, then what does that mean for the shows coming up, I guess?
It was
I think summer and fall got so good because they were playing so much too. I mean, I think that when you're playing that much, the shows just continue to get better and better. You take 4 months off.
They played Mexico. They threw a little of this and a little of that.
I feel like a 4-night run though, like it's really rare for them to play like a 4-night New Year's Eve run and not have one stellar show. Like the only run I can really think of is the 2011 run that just kind of happened and it's kind of fell flat. Like even the weaker New Year's Eve runs,
there's a really good 29th or good 30th.
Yeah, there's always one great show. And I feel like the 4-night runs in Mexico and MSG were in that standpoint, but they were all 4 shows were really consistent. And I think that 8 shows, there's kind of that turn where they start to change things up and they start to evolve. And I feel like you heard them start to change things up as they moved from Charleston into Deer Creek, but we didn't hear the result of that.
Right. Another show or another venue on the end of that tour probably would have really benefited from that swing through there.
Like I was
a little bit of a dip. I think it was a little dip.
Yeah. We'll get it in a couple weeks. They came out strong.
RJ's not afraid to say. He's like, they fucking went down.
I felt like it was a dry run for summer, though. We got 120 songs we want to try. Let's play them all over 7 nights. And
I will say, from being to 5 of them, like at the shows, it was a really fun set of nights. And I know I saw a lot of hate on Twitter and PT and the internet and stuff. But in the venues, at these venues, the shows were a ton of fun. The only time I thought the entire run that was a big disappointment, very isolated, was the Rift in Deer Creek. Like it was almost like so much that it was like really took you out of the experience. But besides that, I had a great time every night of that run.
Yeah, that Rift was a lot like a 2.0 show Brian made me listen to last week.
Yeah, seriously. That was like traumatizing listening to that again.
But they generally like a lot of those compositions they played in the spring tour were really well done. Like Esther was pretty good. Fluffhead was great. Like they're clearly spending time practicing.
Coyote was passable.
Coyote, yeah. And
way better than a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad that like the night that was the last night of the tour, that Sen and Deer Creek, because that was like, I thought that was the most interesting jam I've heard in definitely since last fall. But maybe
since last fall.
I'm a Wave of Hope guy. A Wave of Hope.
That was great.
I think they did something they had never done before. And I think it was completely organic.
Yeah,
That
It
was
wasn't
good.
something they'd rehearsed and we're going to go into that A jam we do.
Right.
You know, kind of thing.
Well, and it was encouraged. Like the Sand and the Wave of Hope were probably the most encouraging things for me from that. Even I'm going to throw a hat in for the Slow Maze. We debated.
That's a whole
this
other
heavily.
topic on its own.
Let's go there.
Let's
Like,
do it.
We debated. Yeah, Light.
The
in
Charleston Light
Charleston
was really
Killer.
good.
That was
That's
amazing.
a good point.
But we debated this heavily on HFPod. Like, partially for me, I kind of hear that Slow Maze as the band kind of starting to rework some of their songs. I don't know if that's an age thing. It sounds to me like they're tweaking some of their songs.
It sounded to
and
me
I
like
enjoy
they. It sounded to me like they were going to play it fast and they flubbed and they did the old school like jazz professor at the conservatory.
Well,
Like, all right, let's take it slow.
They sound checked it that night.
I know we were
sound
not
checked it
listening
that
to
way.
it, and it literally sounded like they were working apart first.
Oh,
and then they
interesting.
were probably like, "Oh no, this has a cool groove," and then they're like, "Let's," you know what I mean? Like, I think it was almost an
Interesting.
accident that they stumbled into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
but
know,
in
but
the
it just
show, they did it for a laugh.
I thought it was
And
they were trying to have fun.
It was,
Yeah.
I think it was fun. If
I thought
they
it was
come
weird.
back and they never play a fast maze again, that's a whole other story. But we
Oh,
know
man,
they
that's
can play a
terrible.
fast maze because they've played them
I'll go
very
even
recently.
further.
The one in
If-
MSG was amazing.
If
Yeah.
they play a slow
Yes.
maze in the next 10 mazes, it'll be a huge disappointment. Like, I'm not saying never bring slow maze back, but they need to make it rare, I think, and set it aside. It cannot become this like every other time they play
Like
maze.
Llama.
So you don't want it to be like what
They're going to
Llama-
play it this summer.
I love
sure
slow
you-
llama.
I
though.
think there will be a slow maze this
I
summer.
love
Love
slow
slow
llama.
Love
I
it.
feel
I
like
think they will come
llama
back to that too.
though. I feel
It's
like
different.
llama's. I think that's better. That slow version's better than the slow maze version. The slow maze was a gag or a novelty.
Yeah.
Slow llama is a truly fun version.
It's a
of
real
the
song.
Yeah.
It's a real song.
And should be
Commentary,
tracked
yeah.
separately on fish.net.
It should be. Is it not?
It shouldn't be a footnote. It should be llama.
What about the jam? What
slow.
about the You Enjoy Myself finally abandoning the vocal jam to go and start jamming again? I mean, that was that was a pretty
Crazy.
notable moment.
Did they do
Thank
that in
God.
the ninth cube too? I was
Yeah.
trying to remember that.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
such a good one too. That jam that was so good in the night.
Anytime we skip vocal jam is fantastic by me.
No,
Or the
Yeah,
shorter
not
vocal-
you're on
not
our
skip.
team.
No, I know, but
though.
the shorter version or skipping it is always fantastic by me. Or changing
Vocal
it
jam
up
is
in
not
any way.
dead.
No, we need the vocal jam, but to keep it alive, it has to then, I think, go into something. I agree. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't love more jamming, though, right? I don't know. I guess not everybody goes there for the jams, but I feel like most of us do.
At
Well,
this
that's something.
point,
One of the questions I have just with regards to like any sort of negativity and complaining, which is something that has been there no matter what throughout the entire period of Fish's existence. There's been at least last 30 years, I would say. The jamming nowadays, it keeps you on your toes. It adds a ton of re-listenability to these shows. And the spring tour was filled with it. The first 4 shows of the tour opened with pretty extensive jams off of, in some cases, songs that you wouldn't expect to jam. Throughout each show, there was further exploration. You think of like the second night in Alabama, it opens with that Sigma Oasis. You get a Mr.
Jonathan
Complete.
Fong.
Zero. The character
You get
Zero.
a Zero the next night. You get a great tweezer. That Sand that everyone's talking about, 33 minutes.
Really good
A
free.
Wave of Hope. Really good free. The thing that excites me the most coming off of last year, which I'm not afraid to say, I thought it was one of the great years of Fish, is they're still trying to figure out what's in these songs, what's possible with these songs. And to Kevin's point, like the Wave of Hope, that I don't know if that was planned or not. I kind of get the point. I kind of get the feeling that they were just like inspired and just like ran with it. And it was one of those jams that just sounds absolutely effortless. And Trey was just, every note he was playing was perfectly selected at that moment.
What are those like Jumpin' Jack Flash and Satisfaction
Yeah.
when they did those? I think they just happened those nights.
Yeah.
You know, they were
Yeah.
Totally.
just in the moment. And I think with that, they were in the moment. They were like, "This is cool. Let's see where it goes."
Let's keep
you
doing
know?
this. Satisfaction's a great call out. They clearly like, we're like, we don't know how to actually play this song, but we're just gonna try.
But this sounds like it.
to
Let's
riff.
milk
I
it.
think we can do it.
It was really fun. That was great. That was a great moment.
In true Wook fashion.
There's a little bit of wook in them.
It's like the come together from Dick's a couple, like I think the first Dick's run, they were jamming rock and roll and it didn't come together. And they didn't know how to get to the chorus. They just kind of stumbled out and just sang it. And like at some point, Paige figured it out on the keyboards and it worked.
I think that is probably the single thing I like most about seeing Fish is the unexpected journey that you go on with them. And I got asked that actually this week. Again, I'm sure you've all had this question. Why are you going to so many shows, or why have you seen so many shows? And that's kind of, I mean, the go-to answer, the asshole answer is like, oh, how many football games have you seen, or how many basketball games? So it's same team, same sport, blah, blah, blah. You've all heard that. But like, I think what you were talking about, that journey of like, what are we going to do? And they're organic figuring shit out and not always hitting it is kind of the whole reason, right?
Yeah, and when they do something fun like that, and even if it fails or isn't great, it's still like the LA Woman at the Forum was like incredible. Yeah, they flubbed it a little bit and wasn't like as clean as you want, but hearing that tweezer and them going into it was just like the energy in that building when you realized what was happening just blew the roof off. And then they just, took it and then going back into tweezer. It's so fun live in the moment. Sure, you can go back later and be like, oh, it's not the greatest version, or oh, they kind of screwed up the lyrics and stuff in it, but you're still like in the moment. It's fantastic. And to be there and that's what we go for, is that those moments, and to be in the moment, so to speak. And it's just fantastic. And that's the juice. That's why we keep coming back. And that's why you go see as many shows, Tim. And that's what you want. So
you guys don't just say drugs when people ask.
I
take notes from you. Steal your answers.
It's the only place you can go to do drugs. That's why people go.
I have a funny story to that effect.
Nice,
My
Sam.
manager listens, apparently I found out recently, listens to Howard Stern every day on his drive to work. And that's never come up in conversation. And for the last 9 years, I explained to him where I'm using my PTO. You put in for time, like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm going to follow Fish or whatever. And it's not been a thing. Coming back from New York, the very first day I'm back in the meeting, catch up. And this is the principal of the company. He's like, so I was listening to Howard Stern. I was like, fuck. Because that was the week that Howard was talking about all the balloons and the nitrous mafia and how like it was a super spreader event because all these wooks were passing joints and balloons, and he's just like, you know anything about these? I was like, I know nothing, sir.
And beers.
What are you talking about?
Beers. People.
I've seen it happen.
I just share my beers with everyone around me at shows. It's what we
highlight.
That's how I got COVID.
Yeah, it was the subway. It had nothing to do with the show. A lot of people coughing on the subway. I feel like we were going to talk about something else, and then that was a weird tangent for a personal story. I guess I'm looking forward. So we kind of looked back. They're playing a lot of really fun venues. I think I'm biased, obviously being in the Northeast, but I'm wondering if there's any nights or runs that stick out to any of you guys for any particular reason. I'm thinking like Alpine going back there. There's been a lot of success. I think Bethel. I'm really
20
excited
minutes
about
for Merriweather. I love when they play Merriweather. I could almost stumble home if I wanted. It might take me a day, but
I'm really
takes me a day just to drive there, and I'm.
What was that, Brian?
I'm really excited they're going back to Bethel. That run in 2011 really it continues to stick out to me as one of the strongest runs in early 3.0. The 528 show is one I return to regularly.
How do you do that, man? Not 528, but I have on you pull out dates and shows so seamlessly. I actually have to pause for 4 or 5 seconds to remember my siblings' birthdays, right? And you're just naming Fish shows
it's part of HFPod.
Super impressive.
There's an HFPod training manual that everyone has
Yeah.
to study.
Oh shit! I obviously haven't read it. Then I have not read that.
You don't.
It's in the mail.
Yeah, it's media mail takes forever these days. So
I just rely on Brian. I don't need to do it. We have Brian.
Right.
I'm going to Alpine. It'll be my first time there since 2015, and seeing a 3-night run there. I cannot wait for that. It's that venue. You crest the hill, and you go over. You see the ski hill behind it. The sun's always like
fall down.
You
For a
roll
long
down the hill,
time.
and then you end up in the pavilion, and you roll a little bit more, and that's just a magical place. And the 2019 run ended with such a huge show. To have them go back there,
epic,
and this tour, and know that Dick's is just 2 weeks away.
I didn't realize how big Alpine is. I was at Deer Creek
Massive.
with Zook. I don't know if you guys know Zook, and and we were sitting there like dancing and shit, and then the song, and I was like, man, this place is fucking huge. Just looking at the lawn of Deer Creek, which to me is a
And
very
it's
big
steep.
venue. And he's like, dude, Alpine has like 15,000 more than this. I was like, how the fuck do you get another 15,000? It's crazy.
Go up just like this.
Yeah, just straight up.
It's like the upper deck at MSG without any seats.
I think a Tuesday night stop at Blossom is going to be an interesting show. Just like on the way to Pine Knob. I think that's going to be. The shows at Blossom are almost always good. I know they love the venue. It's kind of a classic place for fish.
I think they want people in Ohio to have something nice. So
they really deliver for the ones that they like. There's that guilt, right? Like that. Oh, we're only gonna hit you once on a weeknight. So if you make it out here, we're really gonna deliver. Whereas like AC, it's almost like, oh, you made it to the Jersey Shore on a weekend, you know, and you had 3 options. It's like you're gonna get these standards, and that's it.
Totally. I'll still be there, but
yeah, I mean, I want both. I don't care, but
it'll be disgusting, but I'll be there for sure.
We should give a shout out to Raleigh, which three members of HFPod will be at. And
it's going to be a sleeper show only because me,
you guys are gonna
Jonathan, and RJ will be there.
Friday night before 2 nights at MPP, which they did that same run in 15 and 18. And the Friday in 18 at Raleigh is
that was
like,
that Antelope set, Runaway Jim Antelope. And
it was like it's a sloppy, fun, amazing show. The second set is just ridiculous. There's a thread in
like
there.
a neat venue.
Raleigh's super fun venue. I've seen a bunch of shows
I gotta
there.
go down there now.
It's
I'm
really fun.
excited to hang out with you. Well, no,
And
I'm
I'm
sure
going
the venue's great, but
with
I
my-
just want to hang out with you guys.
Yep, get in. I'm going with my college crew. We're bringing a party bus, and my friends are
Oh my
wild.
God.
So anybody is welcome.
Nice.
Awesome.
I don't know if I
might
can
get
hang
in on
with
that.
that.
All you had to say.
I might get in on that party bus, Megan.
You're in. You're already in. Jonathan, if
If
you
I
want in,
if I
you're
come
in.
with RJ, can I get in too?
You're all in. Every
I'll be
single
RJ's
one
plus one.
is in the party bus.
Nice. Shout out to 1695 as well for a great rally show.
Is nobody going to say dicks?
No,
Well,
I think
Friday night
that's
covered.
where we were working up to.
I think our big, as we were talking about how they get better as it goes on and stuff. I think by the time we get to Dick's, it's going to be something special, and it's the end of, like it always is, the end of tour. But it's always nice when they're coming in off of tour and not taking a few weeks off, or they end summer tour and then do Dick's a few weeks later, and they got to kind of get, and this year it's 4 nights instead of 3 nights, where you always have the Friday night show, kind of a warm-up show to get them back on track. So I think it's going to be raging.
I mean, 4-night runs are a job.
Yeah.
Anytime.
For us as fans to get 4 nights in,
that's what I mean. No, the hell with the band.
Yeah,
it's a job that I like to do.
I think with that big Dick's
Particularly at a certain
energy,
age.
it's going to be even more intense, right? Because like it's one thing to do a New Year's run, but Dick's like for a 3-night was I always equated, if not more, at least on par with the New Year's runs, energy and commitment wise, because there just seems to be a little extra give and take at Dick's. So now a 4th night there, I feel like is going to be really intense.
I think it's going to be great. I mean,
and I can't wait.
It's going to be incredible. And we'll all be there. Speaking of, like, I know our whole Wook crew is going to be there for once. So we'll all actually get to see a show together. I'm sure most of you guys, Brian, will get to see you guys out there. It's going to be a blast just on that feeling alone, seeing everybody in the lot and doing that. And then the shows themselves will speak for themselves.
Yeah, and actually, HFPod is going to be doing, and Osiris is going to have a setup and do a lot. I don't want to go into too much details on some of it. I guess if you want to speak to anything specific, you guys can.
We're
working out.
Will come, but we're going to be there 4 days. We will. You guys will be on, hanging with us for part of it. We got to do some recaps with you guys, make sure that we're all covering all bases of what happened. But we've got 4 days there where we'll have music, we'll have podcasting. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm super excited. We did 1 day last year, and it was great. We had a good crowd. We had a good crew there.
I'm never going to set up broadcast again. We broadcast from the actual lot last year, like 2 or 3
times. The tent flew away with the microphone.
I was like, it is not a good energy. So this was like Osiris is going to set up, and then we could hang out and talk fish. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
It's an effort too, just
correct.
to try and get up and get there and set up and do the whole thing. Like it takes effort. So
It was a lot.
especially by the second or third, fourth day this time is like I'm lucky to get out of bed and get there before the show starts, much less try and set up and do a show. So
This is
Well, we're
what
gonna be
comes with
set up
doing
by then.
post-show gigs all the time. See,
Right.
exactly.
if you're like us old people who do the show in the morning or 1 p.m., you know, you're used to like getting up in the morning, getting your sleep, you know,
Right.
you're ready to go. That's how Brian does it. The rest of us, I don't know. I'm not going. I can't go to altitudes. So you guys have fun.
I
there.
guess the lesson learned from this, and we're coming up against it, I'm going to try to stay professional, but the lesson learned from this experience is there is enough room for all of this wonderful, beautiful content.
Yeah.
And we watch
yeah.
and listen to each other's content. We appreciate each other. And hopefully, if you're here for the first time on wook+ because you came with HFPod, I hope you check us out. And if this is your first exposure to HFPod, which I doubt because they've been killing it for a long time, but if it is, I hope you go and check them out because we are all in this together and we love to make fish content, apparently, for free. I don't know. Like, I feel like you
Hit
guys
like
have
and
the ad reads
subscribe. Hit
down.
like and subscribe.
We got to get that monetization and get some of those ad reads. All right, I'm going to call this. Does anybody have anything better?
Don't we have an ad? Didn't we have an ad?
Oh, well, I was going to have Brian do a read, but I was going to give him an excuse if he didn't want to.
You got to read for me?
Yeah. Oh, do I have it? Kev, do you have a read for Brian?
I don't know where it is.
All right, let's just call it, man. God, this
Guys,
show is.
Let's do this again.
That's why I put it
Yeah,
on
let's
there
do it.
the other day.
Let's do it
Thank you
again.
guys so much. I really appreciate
Thank you guys for
coming
Thanks
on.
for coming over,
This was a lot
guys.
of
It was
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, this is a
So
blast.
It's gonna be one of those nights.
Kryptonite.
Oh my! Wow.
The guys, I don't think that they were very well connected.
Yeah, and he did not hit his part.
Yeah, you could
happens.
see it on his face.
He knew it too.
He knew it. Yeah, he knew it. And he was
Isn't that the song, or is it another song?
That's a classic, but that's not that particular song. That's Jimmy Olsen Blues, as we've been
Jimmy
referencing.
I thought it was pretty good. You know, we had a.
I don't remember how he did, but it was pretty good.
this isn't the right vibe, or